Build Your Own Deer Factory, brought to you by Kubota.
Well, welcome to this year's Build Your Own Deer Factory project. James, we're changing things up a little bit. So far, over the last 5 years or so, we've been partnering with Whitetail Properties. Right. We've stayed, generally east of the Mississippi. This time we're all the way out in northwest Oklahoma. Right. Steve Purviance here with Whitetail Properties. This is your home turf. Tell us a little bit about the property that we're going to be working on this year.
Well, Pat, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm excited about it. This is actually Woodward County. This piece of land is pretty special to me. It's right here by Boiling Spring State Park, and actually my granddad was game warden back in the 40s and 50s, and he was the one that reintroduced the turkeys and released the first deer herd back to this part of the country. And actually it happened right here in Boiling Spring State Park. So for me to live and own land right here is pretty special.
Well, you've certainly got plenty of deer and turkey now. We've got a number of pretty neat topics we're going to talk about this year, James. Some of them different from what we've been able to talk about in the past. One of them is going to be climate limitations and some of the challenges that you face in Oklahoma.
Right. I'm really excited about being here because, like you said, our previous Build Your Own Deer Factories have been in forest land or in agricultural land. Now we're in ranching land. This is the kind of country I grew up in. And as you move further west, the challenges increase. And what's neat about what Steve has is he's also facing a challenge that a lot of landowners, I don't care where they are facing. He's got neighbors, and he's got a state park, he's got a golf course, he's got housing developments, he's got other neighbors, and a lot of people would think that's a negative, but it turns out we're going to see how it's really a positive for what he's wanting to do here.
Right, and later this season we'll really get into how to take advantage of neighboring property usage. That's one of the themes we'll talk about. Today, we're kind of going to take a tour of this property and look at some of the topics we'll discuss throughout the season. Right. We'll look at some areas where we're going to put in some food plots, warm season and cool season food plots. We'll look at some areas where we might need to do some timber management and talk a lot about some of these advantages and challenges that you're facing down here.
So Steve, let's take a tour.
You bet, I'm excited. Let's go look at it.
All right.
Here is one of the most neglected aspects of deer management, and that is a reliable water source that is available throughout the property. Deer need about a half a gallon, sometimes up to a gallon of water a day. So if you've got 15, 20 deer utilizing this area, you're looking at anywhere from 7 to 15 gallons of water a day that you're going to need. And using these artificial tanks is what we found is just the best way to provide supplemental water to our deer.
Yeah. Dr. Kroll said it. I mean, water's just so big here, especially in the long extended drought we've been going through. This is more of a centrally located tank, but as you've seen through the property, we've got little tanks here scattered here and there, and it's just like you said, it's a big deal.
Well, good deal. One of the other things we're going to talk about is obviously supplemental feed via food plots. Mm-hmm. We've got a couple warm season food plot locations I want to take a look at too while we're here.
Okay, let's have a look at them. I'm anxious to see it.
All right, guys, well, this is stop number 2 on our tour. And Steve, obviously, this is a location where we're thinking about food plots. You guys have already implemented a food plot strategy on this property. You got some good alfalfa growing over here. In this case, though, what we're thinking about putting in is soybeans, and then we're also talking about maybe banking some of that forage.
You bet. I'm excited about that. I haven't tried it. I've tried milo, of course, alfalfa and wheat. We usually plant that in the summer, but beans is something new.
Yeah.
Yep, basically what we're going to do here is we've got a bench, we've got a bedding area, the bench is off of the river over here. We come in here and plant non-Roundup ready soybeans. We're using a low nitrogen fertilizer. We're going to come back and put a fence around it, and we're going to bank the forage until it's time for the deer to use it. So that way we can protect it, open it up, and get the most out of our nutrition.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully if the weather cooperates, we'll get that plot in tomorrow. In the meantime, one more stop. I wanted to check out some of those really thick cedars you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we need to go look at that.
All right. Well, James, each one of these projects has one element that seems to be different from the year before and different from what we'll do next year. Right. And this is a great example of it here in Oklahoma over our shoulder. Steve, we've talked a little bit so far about the proliferation of cedars in this part of the country. Kind of tell us a little bit about why that's been a problem and what you're dealing with on this property.
Well, predominantly lately, we've had the bad wildfire outbreaks. Had a huge one down in Dewey County just lately, just this year. And you can see why. That's really good for nothing. It's not good for deer cover. Nothing can live in there, not turkeys, not deer, nothing beds in there. It's just a wildfire danger right now. And as you can see, we've been opening this up a little bit, letting it come back to its natural habitat and trying to improve the deer habitat.
Right.
Yeah, there is some use to it because we like to do what we call landscaping for whitetails. It does offer us an opportunity by selective removal of building travel corridors connecting the elements and also producing both winter and summer thermal cover if we reduce the density of it. And one of the really exciting things about it is that although these stands of cedar have been here a long, long time, in that ground underneath those cedars is a seed bank that if you remove a lot of those trees, get light to the ground, you're going to have a rapid proliferation of deer food that seems to come out of nowhere. Yeah. So there's some good and some bad to it, but we've got to control the cedar or we're going to have wildfires.
Well, we definitely brought the equipment to do it. I'm actually looking forward to getting the skid steer in there and some of this quick attach equipment and really knocking some of these cedars down.
Yeah.